question coming up to you all guys. So we have the question in the chat box. So please look at the chat box for the icebreaker session question today. So let me read out the question for you guys. The first icebreaker question is, in a team building scenario on a deserted island, which department would you bring the best outsourcing survivor skill? Options are finance, budgeting and resource management, IT, tech and wizardry, HR, team harmony and collaboration, D, marketing, creativity and communication. So please put your options in the chat box for the icebreaker question. I'm thrilled to have you all here for the webinar session and your active participation. Taslim is saying HR team, C. Charles is saying going with the option ICT. So we are getting a lot of options here, and majority I think is with the HR options. So definitely outsourcing has become a crucial strategy for businesses worldwide, helping organizations optimize their resources, focus on core competencies, and drive innovation. So definitely in this webinar, we'll provide you with a comprehensive understanding on the fundamentals of strategic outsourcing and its benefits, risks, and best practices. Thank you everyone for your participation in the icebreaker question. We can have our next icebreaker question for you. So let's have our next icebreaker question in the chat box. So if we could buy a time capsule for future outsourcing teams to discover what item represent our current strategic outsourcing efforts. So the options are cutting edge technology gadget, a teamwork trophy, a visionary roadmap, a crystal ball for predicting industry trends. So which option do you choose for the icebreaker question 2? Ibrahim is going with the cutting edge technology. Very good. Thank you, participants, for answering this icebreaker question and being participative. So to answer all these questions, we have our expert for today's session, Dr. Hatim El Sharif, General Manager and Managing Director, Mediterranean Oilfield Service Company, Moscow. He is a highly experienced professional with extensive expertise in finance, business development, education, and consultancy. Bringing a rich background on hands-on experience, our esteemed speaker, Dr. Hatim, has adaptively navigated the complexities of strategic outsourcing across a spectrum of industries. So I'm sure that Dr. Hatim will be here to explain you more details about outsourcing and answer all your queries regarding the strategic outsourcing. So be prepared for an engaging and enlightening session as share valuable insights and actionable takeaways. So over to you, Dr. Hatim, sir.
Hi, good day for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Priya, for this kind introduction. I'm thrilled to see such an eager group of participants joining us today in today's webinar about strategic outsourcing. As mentioned, my name is Dr. Hatim Sharif. I'm a general manager and founder of Mediterranean Oilfield Service Company. Also, I have been in education business for the last 6 years, working as a module developer and adjunct professor faculty in some of prestigious academies and universities around the world, both in campus and online. I will be your guide today for this journey about deeping on the outsource as a strategic option for companies. But in the beginning, let us take a minute to mourn the soul of civilians who were killed by the unfaithful Israeli bullets in Palestine. Thank you for your feeling about this. Let's start sharing our presentation. Before we delve into the details, let me quickly outline the agenda for today's webinar. We have carefully crafted this agenda to ensure that you gain a comprehensive understanding on a strategic outsourcing. Firstly, we will begin to define what strategic outsourcing is and its key principles. Then we'll give you a solid information, a solid foundations for the rest of our discussion. Next, we will explore the benefit and challenges, risks associated with strategic outsourcing. It's important to understand both sides of the coin before making any strategic decisions. Any strategic decisions at any level have both advantage and disadvantage. So you need to understand the both side of the coin before making any strategic decisions. Following that, we will discuss the factor considered when deciding which function or process to outsource. This will help you make informed decisions based on your organization specific needs. In later part of our webinar, we will focus on the essential steps involved in the outsourcing process, such as vendor selections, contract negotiation, and transitions management. We will share some best practice and tips to ensure smooth and successful outsourcing experience. After that, we will provide the real-world examples to illustrate how strategic outsourcing has been successfully and also unsuccessfully implemented in various industries, so we can deduce the results and we can draw the map for a successful strategic decision. Lastly, we will conclude the sessions with the questions segments, where you will have the opportunity to ask any questions you have regarding the strategic outsourcing. Now, let's dive into the subject of today's webinar, Strategic Outsource 101. In today's highly competitive and rapidly evolving business landscape, organizations are seeking innovating ways to optimize their operations, reduce costs, gain competitive edge. Outsourcing has become a vital or crucial decision only in the last 20 years of this decade. Strategic outsourcing has emerged as a powerful solution to address this challenge. By strategically outsourcing certain function or process to external partner, it's very crucial to bear in mind what are the outsourcing, what's meant by outsourcing. This will help us to know the subject that we are talking about. What's the outsourcing? If there is an ice break here, Priya?
No, Dr. Hatim, you may continue.
Okay. The act of contracting with an outside firm or person to carry out a commercial task that is typically handled internally in-house is known as outsourcing. So it's better than or prefer to do some internal work by expertise firms from outside the firm. This is what we call the outsourcing. This can involve activities like production. You can outsource production, customer service, bookkeeping, finance, HR, a lot of activities you can freely outsource it despite the situation that your company is facing. Outsourcing strategy is a strategic decisions making process where a company consider at what point it is more appreciate to make product or service within their own company in-house, or whether it is better for another company to make the product or service for them. Better in terms of efficiency, in terms of reducing costs, in terms of core competence. Strategic outsourcing refers to the practice of delegating certain business function or process to external third-party service provider, typically with the purpose of achieving cost saving, operational efficiency, and gaining competitive advantage and competitive edge. It involves a long-term partnership with an external vendor to handle a specific area of company's operation. From my point of view, outsourcing is the first step in the merger and acquisitions decisions for the companies nowadays, because a lot of merger and acquisitions show unsuccessful results. So companies now prefer to do the outsourcing relationship with the target company that they are willing to either acquire or merger with it. Then they will announce the merger and acquisitions between them. What is the importance in business practice for the outsourcing? First of all, cost saving. Strategic outsourcing can reduce expenses by transferring certain function to an external provider. It's very clear, who can often handle them more efficiently and at a lower cost. You know that the main problem of the cost is the fixed cost. Fixed cost is a huge amount of money that the company pay for, but if they pay this amount for a huge production, then the fixed cost per unit will be less, and this why the outsourcers or outsourcing provider service have this competitive advantage in a lower cost, because they do this service only with a huge amount of revenues and products, so they reducing their cost 100%. Second important things, outsourcing, especially in non-core business, will let us, the company, focus in core competence. Outsourcing non-core activity allows business to concentrate on their core competence, enabling them to excel in their primary areas of expertise rather than wasting time for normal activity. Of course, access to expertise and technology. Companies can benefit from the specialized knowledge and advanced technology that outsourcing providers bring to the table, facilitating innovating and higher quality service delivery. Increase flexibility and scalability. Outsourcing provides the flexibility to scale operation up or down depending on business needs without having to invest additional resource or infrastructures. Or it's very simple. If you need to increase your salespersons, this will need to invest in more offices, more facilities for the new salespersons. But if you outsourcing, you will find the right amount of people that you need to hire. Last but not least, risk mitigation. By outsourcing certain function to expertise, companies can reduce risk associated with regulatory compliance, technological distributions, and operational challenge. On the other hand, these are the benefits of strategic outsourcing. First of all, we talk about the cost efficiency. Outsourcing is usually cheaper than hiring permanent employees, as long as this reduces cost in both way, time and expense. Also, increasing productivity and efficiency. Outsourcing is used to let someone else to do the supporting work that your business does not do. And this person who will do the supporting work for you, it should be very expertise and efficiency in their work. Of course, expert input. When you outsource activities to others, you can involve as many professionals in their field to carry them out as you want. This will lead to a competitive edge or competitive advantage. By outsourcing work, you will engage others with expert knowledge who are used to doing that activity every day. That is in turn will usually mean that you will have a greater competitive edge over your competitors who use the staff in-house. Last but not least, global reach. Outsourcing open doors to accessing global talent, diverse perspectives, and market, expanding business potentially, and also have the ability to work 24 hours rather than to work 8 hours the normal working days. Because if the company in the USA and they have outsourced the salesperson around the world, this means for the time differences that this company will work almost 24 hours a day. And this also will, of course, will lead to increase the sales and increase the growth of the company. As we mentioned before, any decisions that you will ever take have advantage and associated with some risks. So what are the risks of strategic outsourcing? First of all, you will lose the control. You will lose the control of this activity that you outsource. Outsourcing involves entrusting certain operation to external party, resulting in potential loss of control over critical process and decision making. You will not have the control over this surface in terms of control of employees, control of the norms, and the way of the act. All this, it will be also loss of control for your company on this specific surface, which may affect the whole reputations of the company. Security and confidentiality. One of the most important risks of strategic outsourcing, transferring sensitive data and exclusive information to a third-party vendor may pose risk related to data security breach, intellectual property theft, or confidentiality breach. Dependency on vendor performance. Companies relying heavily on outsourced functions can experience negative consequences if the vendor fails to deliver as expected, to face financial instability. And we will see a very famous real life examples failing outsourcing because of this dependency on vendor performance. Of course, culture and communication challenge also there at the risk of outsourcing. Outsourcing to international, of course, we are talking about the culture and communication. Most probably, we are talking about the international phase. If you are outsourcing from the international service provider, may introduce language barriers, time zone differences, and culture tunes that can impact collaborations and understandings between the company and the outsourcers. Repetition risk, of course, if the outsourcing provider delivers poor quality service or experience significant issues, it can reflect poorly on the company's reputation. So these are a table showing the most factors that we can compare between in-house operation or outsourcing the function. If you see the cost, in-house, it should be high cost, while outsourcing, it will be cost effective. Commitment, in-house long-term commitment, it's your operation, so you will do what you never need. But the outsourcing, usually it will be short-term commitment. It will be what we call it, contract for 2 years, for 3 years. So it's short-term commitment. Skills, lack of necessary skills. The outsourcing core competence, because if you want to outsource the customer service, you will go for a provider for customer service. So it's core competence. So you will find all the skills and expertise, of course, there. Control, in-house, you will have the control of your all activity, but outsourcing, it will be lack of control. The availability, in-house, of course, it will be on-site availability of the service. In the outsourcing, it will be some lack of communication. The data, in-house data security, outsourcing, no data security. And I think all of you heard about a lot of cases for the data breach, especially in financial data for the customers. Scale, need training in-house, but the outsourcing is professional. We are talking about professional. So from these presentations, what are the key factors to consider when you will take the decisions of outsourcing? First of all, alignment with business objective. Determine how outsourcing aligns with the company's strategic goals and core competence. Then, vendor selection. Evaluate potential vendors based on their expertise, track records, industry experience, financial stability, and culture compatibility. Clear service legal agreement. And this is the most important issue. If you have a clear service legal agreement to protect your data from breach and data security also, and to clearly clarify the needed service with the quality and quantity, this will mitigate the risk of the outsourcing. Establish a well-defined agreement to ensure mutual understanding of performance expectations, metrics, and data security. Of course, risk mitigation strategies. Develop risk mitigation strategies to manage and mitigate risk associated with the outsourcing, such as data protection measures, contingency plans, and legal safeguard. From my point of view, do not outsource for one vendor. You have a lot of vendors, and of course, keep some of the service doing in-house in case of emergency. And a lot of business, like, by the way, do this when it comes for the customer service. They do the customer service outsourcing by some of the companies that provide customer service outsourcing service, and they keep the VIP customers service in-house, because to ensure that the VIP customers are well serviced. Effective communication, of course, establishing clear communication channels and framework to ensure regular update, feedback, collaborations between the company and the outsourcing provider. Continuous monitoring and evaluation, regularly assess the outsourcing arrangement effectiveness, review performance metrics, and adjust strategic as necessary to maximize the benefit from outsourcing. The question is now, what to outsource? What are the functions that you can outsource? Outsource is a strategic business decisions to delegate certain function or process to external parties. The area in business that can be outsourced strategically can vary depending on the organization's needs, capabilities, industries, and circumstances. Here are some common functions or processes that are frequently outsourced. Information technology service, the IT service. IT support, software development, infrastructure management, network administration, and cybersecurity service are often outsourced to specialized IT service providers. One of the famous service providers for the IT, Wipro, TCS, Infosys, IBM, all of these are a professional IT service provider. Customer service, call centers, help desks, and customer relation management service are commonly outsourced to countries with lower labor costs. And I think India and Egypt, one of the famous countries that the customer service are outsourcing in these countries. Just like Teleperformance, Skyes, Helpware, all of these are companies working in the outsourcing of the call centers and customer service. Human resource, operation, recruitment, payroll, processing, benefit administration, employee training, performance management can be also outsourced, just like Trinet, Bambi, and Inspirety. All of these are companies that outsource human resource service. Accounting and finance, bookkeeping, tax preparations, financial analysis, auditing, payroll processing are often outsourced to accounting firm or financial service providers, just like Connext, ValueNode, Big Five. Manufacturing and production. Certain aspects of products, not all the manufacturing. You cannot do the outsourcing for all your manufacturing. Otherwise, you will not have any core competence. So you will do certain aspect of product. Assembly, packing can be outsourced to contract manufacturing to offshore production facilities, just like automated assembly company, Acrafab, all of these companies. Also, you can have the R&D, research and development. Some organizations outsource part of their research and development activity to external expertise, academic institutions, or specialized search firms, just like Tata Consultancy, Mid Pharma and Tech Science Exchange. Last but not least, the marketing, and this is the one of the famous outsource activity, the marketing and advertising, digital marketing, content creations, social media management, search engine optimization, SEO, and advertising companies can be outsourced to marketing agency or freelancers. This you will at least ensure that you will go to the right channel for effective market campaign. We have famous outsourced providers for the marketing, just like Writing Studio, WebFX, and Blue Corona. When selecting the right areas to outsource, there are several criteria should be considered. First of these criteria, the cost efficiency. Assess if outsourcing can reduce the operating cost while maintaining or increasing the quality of service provided in the needed service to be outsourced. Core competence. Identify non-core activity that are not central to the organization expertise or value propositions. So this good candidate for outsourcing as long as it's not the core competence of your company, so you can outsource the activity. Resource availability. Evaluate first if the organization have the necessary resource skills or technology internally to effectively perform the function or process, or if external expertise would be more beneficial. Risk mitigation. Consider potential risk associated with outsourcing, such as data security, intellectual property protection, dependence on a single vendor. Do not depend on a single vendor at any case. This will harm you at any point of time. Implement appropriate risk mitigation strategy. Quality and service levels. Ensure that the outsourced function or process can meet the required quality standards. Of course, every company have a quality standard for its own product and service. So ensure that the vendor will meet these standards. Otherwise, it will hit your performance or repetition. Legal and regulatory compliance. Verify if outsourcing complies with the applicable law, regulations, industry standards, especially when dealing with the sensitive data or customer information. Culture and communication factors taken to consideration. Language barriers, time zone differences, culture compatibility to ensure effective communication and collaborations with the outsourced provider. By carefully considering these criteria, business can strategically identify the areas that is best suited for outsourcing, enable them to focus on their core competence and achieving competitive advantage. Process for evaluating the potential outsourcing partner. There are steps you should go through when you are evaluating the partner who will outsource from him a service. First of all, you need to define your requirements. Of course, you need to define your requirements. Clearly define your project requirement, objective, scope, timeline. Then research and shortlist candidates. Make just like a small tender between your vendors. Take offers from them. Evaluate the offers. Make a short list of candidates. Conduct throughout research to identify potential partner. Look of experience, expertise, repetition, and client feedback, not only the cost. After that, you will assess capabilities, evaluate each candidate capabilities, infrastructure, technology, resource, to ensure that they can meet your project need. Then review client references, contact the outsourcing partner past or existing client to gain insight into their performance, professionality, and adherence to deadlines. Make your homework before you select the potential outsourcing partner. Of course, if it's applicable to visit the facility or conduct a virtual meetings, visit the potential partner facilities to assess their working environment, infrastructure, security measures, overall operations. Alternatively, arrange virtual meeting to have a detailed discussions with the potential partner. Last but stability of the outsourcing partner to ensure they can sustain a long-term partnership. Managing and mitigating outsourcing risk. There are criteria for managing and mitigating the risk of the outsourcing. First of all, vendor selection. Vendor selection, after you go with the last process and select your vendor carefully according to the all of the criteria and security and financial stability that your outsourcing come through, then you can mitigate the risk after carefully select your vendor. Clear and comprehensive contracts, of course, making a clear and comprehensive contract showing what is on you, what is on your outsourcing, showing the quality, the metrics, the measurement, the data security, the data breach, all the relationship to be clear, and from the day one, this will mitigate the outsourcing risk. Robust communication channels. Of course, communication channels and effective communication channels, very crucial aspects in the outsourcing, because without having a communication channel, effective communication channel, you will lose control and you will lose the feedback on your on the activity. Continuous monitoring and performance tracking. Of course, once you make the contract and start the activity with the outsourcers, still you have to on a daily basis or monthly basis monitor and performance track for the activity of the outsourcer. Handling distribution in outsourcing operation, outsourcing risk. Of course, to handle or to distribute the risk or mitigate the risk for the outsourcing, you can also diversifying outsourcing partners. As I told you before, do not rely on one source or one vendor. You need to make a diversified outsourcing partner and keep maintaining house capability. If you need to make sure about the repetitions and you will not face any crucial situations that for any kind of reasons that the outsourcer did not make his service effectively or professionally, you can, by maintaining in-house capabilities and diversifying outsourcing partner, you can have plan B, plan C, and plan D. Of course, business continually planning and regular audits and assessment for the outsourcing partner will also mitigate the outsourcing risk. Implementing outsourced solution. First of all, to implement the outsourced solution or the outsourced strategy, you need to define a clear goals. What's your aim from this decisions? Choose the right vendor, and as we agreed before, it will not be right one vendor. Choose at least 2 to 3 reliable vendors. Establish effective communication channels between the vendor and your company. Clearly define roles and responsibilities. This by having a very comprehensive agreement This agreement will clearly define the rules and responsibilities for each party, implement service legal agreement to ensure the rules and responsibility are clearly communicated in this partnership. Knowledge transfer and training. Of course, implementing solutions for outsourcing, knowledge transfer and training. If you decide to make the outsource activity, for example, for sales, you need to make at least what we call it in-house operation and capability by making the vendors to do some training and transfer knowledge to your internal employees. Ensure a smooth transitions by providing the outsourcing team with comprehensive knowledge about your business process and systems and vice versa. So you need to transfer knowledge from your company, core competence, and what you need, the aim, to the outsourcers. And also, you need the outsourcer to train your employee and transfer the expertise and the knowledge and the skills to your in-house operation. Monitor and evaluate performance. Regularly monitor the performance of the outsourced function using defined metrics and performance indicators, just like KPIs, balance scorecard. Conduct periodic reviews and assessment to measure adherence to the agreement. Identify areas of improvement and address the concern probably. Foster trust and collaboration. Build a trust-based relationship with your outsourcing partner. Encourage collaboration, share feedback, actively involve in a decision-making process, create a supportive environmental. All these ideas will promote open dialogue and problem solving between the partners. Continuously improvement. Encourage culture continuously improvement within your outsourcing arrangement. Regularly assess, process, identify bottlenecks, and seek opportunities for optimizations. Embrace feedback from both your internal team and outsourcing partner to drive enhancements. Manage the transitions. Of course, effectively managing the transitions to the outsourced solutions, communicate challenge to the stakeholders, address concerns, provide support for internal team during the transition period, ensure smooth handover of responsibility and minimize distributions between the parts. Priya, do you have any questions for the audience?
In fact, we can have one poll question. Let me just put the polls if we have any. Or we can take some questions from the learners. So we have
you don't have icebreaker questions to make the participant.
Currently, I don't see any polls here. So we can either continue with the session or we can take a few questions of our learners.
Okay, we still have now the case studies about successfully implementing outsourcing decisions and unsuccessful outsourced decisions case studies. So we will start with the successful outsourced decisions. The first successful outsourced decisions examples we have between Apple, of course, all of us know Apple, and Foxconn. In early 2000s, Apple faced a decline in its market share and financial performance. The company decided to strategically outsource its manufacturing to Foxconn. So manufacturing the mobile phones and the electronics devices produced by Apple in 2000 outsourced it to Foxconn, a Taiwan electronic manufacturer. This decision proved to be highly successful for Apple. By outsourcing this manufacturing process, Apple was able to focus in its core competence. What's the core competence of Apple? Is innovation. Design, product design. These are the core competence of Apple, and also the software development. This allowed them to bring innovative products to the market faster and at a lower cost. What the key lessons and key takeaways from these case studies? Focus on core competence, just like Apple recognized that manufacturing was not its core competence. By outsourcing this function, they were able to concentrate on what they did best, which was designing and developing new products and software. Of course, cost efficiency. Outsourcing manufacturing to Foxconn helped Apple to reduce the manufacturing cost significantly. Of course, Taiwan, for example, per hour rate for Taiwan engineer is more or less than per hour rate for American engineer. This is one of the key factor of the cost calculation. This results in a higher profit margin and allow Apple to invest more in the research and development, speed to market. By leveraging Foxconn's extensive experience and expertise in manufacturing, Apple was able to introduce new products to their market rapidly. This gave them a competitive edge and helped regain these positions in the industry. And of course, you know that Apple every year announce a new product innovations and a new product series from their electronic device. Another successful case study for outsourcing decisions was between IBM and Lenovo. One of the most widely known successful strategic outsourcing done between IBM and Lenovo in 2005. IBM, a technology company, decided to outsource its personal computer divisions to Lenovo, a Chinese company. The key takeaways from these examples is that strategic outsourcing can bring significant benefits such as cost reduction, access to new market, because IBM, American, Lenovo, one of the Asian company, Chinese company, so they have the access to China market, which is a very huge market, and increase operational efficiency. IBM was able to focus on its own competence while leveraging Lenovo manufacturing capabilities and expertise in the Asian market. These decisions result in increased market share for Lenovo and also for IBM to focus on a higher margin, service, and consulting operation. And by the way, IBM and Lenovo, they are not outsourcing only, they have some kind of merger and acquisition. What are the lessons learned from this? define clear objective. What's your aim? What's your strategic objective? Before outsourcing, you need to define clear objectives. Choose the right partner. Of course, IBM, when she decided to outsource the personal computer for another company, they make a very comprehensive evaluations for a lot of options, and they choose the right one, which was the Lenovo. These decisions align with their strategic goal. Effective communication and collaboration. Establishing effective communication channel and collaboration mechanism between the outsourcing partner and the company is crucial for success. This ensure alignment, transparency, and efficient coordinations. Risk assessment and management. Of course, IBM do conduct a risk assessment to identify potential risk and develop contingency plan. This helps mitigate any potential risk and ensure business continuity. On the other hand, not all the outsource decisions successfully or turn to be successful. We have some non-successful or unsuccessful outsource decisions, real life examples. In 2013, Target Corporation, a retail giant in the US market, decided to outsource its data security to a third party called Hudson Bay, a Canadian retailer. However, these decisions turned out to be an unsuccessful one. The outsourced vendor suffered a breach, resulting in theft of millions of customers' personal information of targets. This incident had severe consequences of targets, including financial loss, reputation damage, legal implications. What are the key lessons learned from this case? Vendor selections and due diligence. Target, unfortunately, they did not make a very comprehensive due diligence on when they select the outsource company. Risk management. Also, Target did not adequately mitigate the risk associated with the outsourcing service, especially when they are dealing with a sensitive data, their customer financial information. Communication and transparency. Of course, also Target failed to clearly communicate what happened to their customers. After I think it had a month before they announced the breach of the financial information, and this also affect the reputations of the target. Last but not least, from the non-successful outsourcing decisions was the case of Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Boeing outsourced decisions for their 787 Dreamliner program serves an example of non-successful strategic decision. To create a technological advanced aircraft, Boeing decided to outsource a significant part of the manufacturing and assembly of the airplane to various suppliers worldwide. So they make various suppliers worldwide to mitigate the risk of relying on one vendor. But at the end of the day, they make a various suppliers, but they didn't carefully choose them. Lack of supply chain integration. Point faced a major challenge due to lack of effective supply chain integration with its outsourcing partner. Communication gaps, delays, quality control issues emergent, leading significant production delays and costly, of course. Over dependence on suppliers. Boeing heavily relies on its outsourcing partners and did not adequately manage and oversee their work. They didn't make any visit, they didn't make any measurement for the performance. So this lead to loss of control over a critical component and contribute to delay and quality problem. Failure طبعا of course in risk management. Boeing outsourcing decisions did not adequately account for potential risks such as technical complexity, culture differences, and global regulatory challenge. The company underestimated the difficulties that arose from managing a globally dispersed supply chain, so they failed significantly in their decisions. What are the general key takeaways and lessons learned from these examples? Proper supply selections and relationship management are crucial in outsourcing decisions. It's important to thoroughly evaluate the capabilities, reliabilities, and compatibility of potential outsourcing partners. Effective communication and collaboration between the outsourcing firm and its partner are very crucial and very essential. Regular monitoring, regular meetings, feedback, accountability mechanism should be in place to address issues. Risk assessment and mitigation plan should be integrated to outsourcing decisions, identifying potential risks and developing strategies to tackle them can prevent costly set. Maintaining a balance between outsourcing and retaining core competencies is essential. Outsourcing should focus on non-core activities, allowing organizations to concentrate on their strength and strategic goals. Do you prefer to make the conclusion and then we go for the questions, or go for the questions and then we will back to the conclusion?
Dr. Hatim, we can have the conclusion and then go for the questions.
Okay. In conclusion, our explorations of the complex landscape of strategic outsourcing has provided a comprehensive understanding of its principles, benefit, challenge, and the key factors that influence successful implementation. As we navigate through the fundamentals, importance in business operation, benefits, risk, considerations, and the evaluation process of potential outsourcing partner, we gain valuable insight into how organizations can strategically leverage outsourcing to enhance efficiency, cut costs, and gain competitive edge. The significance of clear communication and collaborations emerged as a recurring theme, emphasizing the essential role in successful outsourcing endeavors. Effective communication ensure mutual understanding of project requirements, facilities problem solving, and align outsourcing partner with the organization goals. This theme resonates through the discussions on vendor selection, risk mitigation strategy, and the importance of establishing surface legal agreements. The case study further underscored the critical importance of carefully planning, due diligence, and effective management in outsourcing decisions. Apple successfully outsourcing of manufacturing to Foxconn highlighted the benefit of focusing on core competence and cost efficiency and speed to market. Conversely, Target Corporation data security outsourcing incident and Boeing challenge with the 787 Dreamliner program served as a cautionary tales in facing the need for thorough risk assessment, vendor selection, and supply chain integration. The journey through the key factors to consider before adopting strategic outsourcing and evaluation potential outsourcing partner and the strategic management risk and distribution provide a roadmap for organizations looking to embark on the outsourcing journey. By aligning outsourcing decisions with business objective, selecting the right partner, establishing clear agreement, fostering effective communication, business can navigate the complexities of outsourcing and maximize its benefits. In the ever-evolving business landscape, the ability of strategically outsource function and process has become a crucial element of organization success. As we conclude this exploration of strategic outsource 101, the key takeaways is that while strategic outsourcing presents opportunities for efficiency, innovations, and cost saving, careful considerations, constant evaluations, and proactive management are essential also for harnessing this full potential. We extend our gratitude to each participant for joining this webinar, and we hope that the insight shared contribute to the success of your organization strategic outsourcing decisions. Thank you for being a part of this informative and engaging sessions. I'm now open for any questions from you.
Thank you, Dr. Hatim, for this insightful session on outsourcing and its risk and benefits. We have a lot of questions in the Q&A box and as well as in the chat box. So I'll start with the Q&A questions. So I'll read out the questions one by one for you, sir. Can we start the questions? We have a question from Bond. What are the main types of outsourcing?
What the main
types of outsourcing?
Type. As we mentioned, there's a lot of type of outsourcing depending on the activity that need to be outsourced. So we have HR, we have what we call it customer service, R&D, production, marketing, and advertising. Any other question?
Yeah, sure, sir. We have. The next question is, how do we know if a particular activity of the business is better operated through outsourcing method? This is a question from John Paul. He wants to know how to identify whether a particular activity of the business is better operated through outsourcing method.
Actually, this is what we call it the core of the decision. First of all, you need to clearly identify your goal from the outsourcing and make some informative data, collect some informative data about the availability of resource and the cost of in-house activity to compare it with the outsourced benefit. Each case is a unique. There is no standard book. If you have 1, 2, 3, go to outsource this activity. There is no standard book for that, but every case is a unique. You need to evaluate your current situations in terms of available resource, cost of the available resource, quality also. Then evaluate your in-house activity with the potential outsource activity. After evaluating this, you can take the decisions whether it's better for you and align or your strategic goals. You can go. We see from the real life examples, Apple take a very successful outsourcing decisions with Foxconn. When on the other side, Target, they didn't evaluate the situation clearly, so turn it up to be unsuccessful decision outsourcing strategy.
Thank you, sir, for that answer. We have another question. It is from Elijah. He is asking, I have once worked for a technology company that outsourced the sales department, but the outsourced company failed to provide revenue as expected, and the company failed in expanding capacity as well as to provide efficient customer service. In your view, what are the problems or errors in that arrangement?
Actually, I'm not in this company to see what are the problems. Maybe the problem is not clearly define the responsibilities and the core the responsibilities of the provider, of the outsourcer. Maybe it's not the decisions in selecting the right vendor was bad. They didn't make a due diligence for the expertise and the experience of the outsourcer. So it may be that, it may be this, maybe lack of communication, it may be wrong selection of the right vendor. So I need to be in and to review the whole situation in order to give a solid opinion.
Thank you, sir. Another question from John. Are there any best practices recommended when the need arises for single sourcing for both corporate and government?
Best practice?
Yeah, best practices recommended for single sourcing for both corporate and government.
Best practice, as we mentioned before, clearly define your goals, evaluate your in-house operation, have a lot of offers from vendors, evaluate these vendors, evaluate their expertise, evaluate their financial stability, then take your decisions by outsourcing to this one or that one.
Okay. So we have another question from Wisdom. How can I incorporate data analytics in business consultancy company? I think.
How can I incorporate?
Data analytics in business consulting. And
data analysis?
Yeah. Maybe we'll go for the next question, which is, this is not related to data outsourcing. What are the process to follow in order to outsource properly? What are the process to follow the outsourcing properly?
We just answered this question. Identify your goal. Also, clearly identify in-house capabilities and cost. Collect offers from outsourcing. Evaluate the offers. Evaluate the vendors financially and from repetition perspective, from experience perspective in the industry, then select the right vendor.
Okay, sir, we'll go to the next question. Here, the question is from Martin. And first of all, he is thanking you for this insightful presentation. And he wants you to throw more light on how to effectively choose the most appropriate partner in accounting and finance outsourcing.
In finance outsourcing, it's we are talking about a very sensitive data. Financial data is very sensitive data for any company. So when when I will do the outsourcing for the financial, I don't prefer to do the bookkeeping and all the financial statements by the outsourcing. You can outsource the payroll activity. You can outsource the auditing activity. When you are outsourcing the auditing activity, make sure that you are select the proper auditors, especially if you are publicly traded. So there is a lot of regulations for selecting the auditors, and also not all the auditors are accepted in the stock market in your country. So be sure that you select an auditor in the list of your stock market.
Okay. Daniel has another question. He is asking whether it is a good idea to outsource in a long run or short run program.
Actually, outsourcing is a short run strategic decision. You cannot make, it's not preferable to make an outsourcing agreement for 10 years, because any agreement has risks. So preferably to make the agreement on a yearly basis and can be renewed with the same terms and conditions, same prices, increased in prices, as long as you have reached an agreement with the outsourcer. But do not go for a 10 years agreement with the outsourcing activity, because this will not have a good impact on your organizations, because circumstances change. Maybe after 2 years, another vendor with a highly expertise from the global market enter your market. So you will have another chance to outsource for more capabilities and more expertise service. So preferably do not outsource long-term contracts. And also, this is not in the real life. All the outsourcing agreements run between 1 to 3 years. Most of the outsourcing agreement run between 1 to 3 years only, and then they can renew.
Thank you, sir, for that kind answer. And we have Vincent asking on the question: during an active contract, the service provider cannot disclose any company's information to the third party. Now, in that situation, what happens when a contract is terminated?
Of course, in the legal agreement, they define after a period of the contract cancellations of the contract expiration date. They have 5 years. Do not declare any data after the cancellation of the contract, of the expired date of the contract, for 5 years. Usually this terms is in on all of the agreements.
Bhupte has an interesting question. Would you encourage small or startup companies to outsource? Do you think it is still a cost-effective process?
It doesn't differ between if you are startup or a big company. The only things to be considered is the goal of the outsourcing. For example, Apple, it's not a startup company. Boeing, it's not a startup company. Target, it's not a startup company. All of these companies, despite the huge investment that they have, huge capital that they have, they choose to outsource. So it's not only for the cost reduction, it's only for remove the headache of non-core activity from the company to the outsourcer. So if you are a startup or a big company, it will, the only difference between them, what is the goal, what you need from the outsourcing. You can outsource when you are a startup, and some companies do that, especially for the sales. Any if you see in your region or in country any for example real estate company, they outsource the salesperson. They are startup companies, they outsource the salesperson because they don't have the capability to hire a huge amount of people, of salespersons. So they outsource the the salespersons from outside, despite the fact that they are startup. But these decisions is sometimes successful with some startup companies, and sometimes other companies did not successful with these decisions because they didn't follow the process. They didn't choose the right one. They didn't have a very comprehensive agreement between them and the outsourcer.
Thank you, sir. Very relevant answer. And that we had a lot of questions regarding the or startup or on entrepreneurs auto outsourcing. So I hope all their answers questions have been answered with this one answer. There is another question from Robbie Joseph. What is the difference between merger and outsourcing?
A merger outsource is the first step of potential merger decisions. But merger, both company will have a solid name. When I talk about merger, just like Exxon and Mobil, they have a merger. The new company or the new entity called Exxon Mobil. So this is a merger. The two entity become one entity, one assets, one management, all kind of this. But the outsourcing, you will not go in the same entity. Each company will have its own entity. You are outsourcing the service from them. They have their name, they have their management, they have their everything, and you are outsourcing the service from them on.
Okay, sir. We have another question from Ibrahim. He says, first of all, he says, thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation. And he is asking about the question, what is your opinion on outsourcing core businesses like energy sector, where a country relying wholly on the neighboring country for its energy need in terms of security and economic wise?
Again, you should mitigate risk and adapt risk mitigation strategy. Evaluate the current situation. Evaluate the risks. Make your homework carefully, then take your decisions. Whatever the outsourcing, whatever the activity, whatever the conditions, as long as you are prepare yourself and mitigate the risk by doing a comprehensive analysis for the vendor, mitigate risk strategy. You adapt mitigate risk strategy by choosing a lot of vendors, by keep in-house operation, for examples. All these will mitigate the risk of outsource. It will not eliminate the risk of outsource. Nothing to eliminate the risk of outsource. The risk is there, but our aim is to mitigate the risk, to minimize the risk, or to prepare ourselves to face the situation with risks.
So, sir, thank you for that relevant answer. And we have almost similar question from Kingsley. What dangers does organization face in an unpredictable global economy when outsourcing strategically? So he is asking for the dangers or risk.
The data.
An unpredictable global economy.
In the data, when you are collecting the data, you collect the data relevant to your decision. For example, if you need to outsource, some of the companies in the US outsourcing the IT services from India people or India companies, because India is well known in the IT service providers. They have the expertise and also the cost effectiveness. Their cost is very low comparing to other companies all over the world. So when the company in US need to outsource this service from India, they need to collect some data relevant to the decisions. They need to collect the reputation of this company, the expertise of this company, the feedback on this company. They need to collect internally some data to help do this decisions by evaluate the capability, evaluate the available resource, evaluate the cost internally before they go to take such a decision.
Thank you, sir, for that answer. There is another question asked by Hanna. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. What is the main reason why Boeing outsourcing failed? Is it a lack of communication or transparency?
What the question is?
The
Sorry?
question is main reason why Boeing outsourcing failed. Is it because of the lack of
Boeing,
communication or transparency?
yeah. The main reason for outsourcing, for Boeing decisions outsourcing fail is the lack of supply chain integration, because in this decisions they outsource the production of the aircraft for a lot of suppliers. For example, supply A, he will do the motor. Supply B, he will do the wings. Supply C, he will do the seats. So they outsource the parts for a lot of suppliers. But they forgot, or they didn't make a good work on integrated the supply chain to make sure that the seats will suit the design and the motor will suit the designs of the internal, and all of these will not done 100% by Boeing. And this is the main reasons for failing this outsourcing decisions is the supply chain integration.
Okay, thank you, sir. BM has a question that do all companies need to outsource? Do all companies need outsourcing? That is a question.
It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Some companies, but nowadays, as I mentioned in the first webinar, back to 20 years, starting from the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, outsourcing become a trend between companies. Maybe before that, there is no outsourcing decisions, a lot of outsourcing decisions, but nowadays, most of the companies make these decisions and outsource some activity, especially the advertising, the HR, and the customer service.
So we are having a lot of questions, but because of the time limitation, I'll have to wind up the question answer session here. And I would like to share a small PPT with all our attendees. So please stay with me for the PPT presentation. So I would like to introduce about Uni Athena to all our attendees. Uni Athena is a online education uh, provider established in 2019. Athena Global Education is headquartered in UK, and we offer various academic and free learning short courses in an affordable and flexible manner. And we have partnership with more than 10 universities and professional qualification authorities. So as I mentioned, these are some of our partnering universities. You can see these are well-known universities across the globe. So we offer our courses in academic programs and short courses. Under academic programs, we have master courses, MBA courses, micro credits, and doctorate. While in the short courses, which are free learning courses, okay, you just need to make the payment for the certificate. And under the short courses, we have basics, essentials, mastering, diploma, executive diploma, and MPS essentials. So you can check out our different courses. And this why Uni Athena, why we recommend Uni Athena. First and foremost is the flexible payment. The payment is designed as you will be paying as you progress in the course. You don't have to pay the full bulk amount altogether. You can pay as you progress in module wise, and it is 100% online. All the video recording, reading materials are available online, and it is a self-paced. You can learn at your own convenient time and space, and but you will always get an assistance of a personal tutor connect. If you have any doubts or any you require any assistance, you can always connect to your personal tutor, even though it is a self-learning, self-paced online platform. And we also, as I mentioned, we are accredited to the well-known universities, and we also deliver our courses in module wise. Okay, you learn only one module at a time when compared to the conventional universities. You will be learning one module, and once you complete that module, you will be going to the next module. So regarding our learning materials, as I mentioned, it is 100% online, and you will get our recorded videos. Our eminent faculties have already recorded the sessions, and it is available as bite-sized delivery. So you can check out your videos and learn at your own convenient time. And then we have something called the essential readings. That is a brief description of what is already discussed by the faculties in the video lecture and some extra reading. So after listening to the video lecture, and when you go to the essential reading and read to the materials, you will get a more better clarity of the concept that is discussed. And we have something called the additional resources, which are actually journal papers or research papers that are available in our e-library that are linked with the concept that you are studying. So you can directly reach out to the papers or case studies, what you are learning through our additional readings. And we also provide a reference material as a PDF, which you can download and keep it. It is something for extra reading and more understanding about the concepts that you are learning. So these are the 4 levels of our learning materials that we provide you. You can check out about our courses and more details about each of our course from our website www.uniathena.com. These are our contact information. We have offices at UK, India, and Middle East. And for admissions, you can contact at admissions@uniathena.com, as well as our admission head, Fatima@uniathena.com. So with that, we have come to an end to the webinar. I especially thank all our participants and our distinguished panelists, Dr. Hadi, for your precious timing and giving our participants a valuable insights on outsourcing and its benefit. And thank you all the participants for joining us today. And till we meet next time, goodbye from Krishnapriya.